Snow fell quietly over Willow Creek, a small town where Christmas lights glowed on every porch except one. On the edge of town lived Daniel Brooks, a poor single dad doing everything he could to raise his 6-year-old daughter, Lily. He didn't have much, just a tiny rented house, a rusty old pickup, and a heart that somehow stayed kind even when life tried to harden it. But on this particular Christmas Eve, as Daniel drove home from his long shift at the warehouse, something happened that would test that kindness more deeply than ever before. Just as he turned down a dimly lit road, he saw something unexpected. Lying near the sidewalk, a small bundle, barely moving, barely crying. At first he thought it was just a pile of blankets someone had dropped. But as he slowed down, his heart jolted with shock. There, in the middle of the freezing night, was a baby. An actual baby. Alone. Abandoned. And what Daniel did next would change more lives than he ever imagined. Before the story continues, if you're new here, make sure to subscribe, like, and comment below. Your support helps our channel, your channel now. Continue sharing powerful stories that inspire kindness, courage, and hope. Now, let's get back to the story. Daniel slammed the truck door shut and rushed toward the bundle. The cold hit him hard, but he didn't care. He knelt down, lifted the blanket, and saw a tiny newborn baby girl with cheeks already turning purple from the cold. She let out a weak, shaky cry, just enough to break his heart wide open. He looked around desperately, expecting someone to run toward them, maybe screaming in panic or calling for help. But the street was silent. The houses nearby were dark, no footsteps in the snow. No sign of a frantic parent. Who would do this? He whispered, holding the baby close to his chest. He didn't have money. He didn't even have enough food for Christmas dinner for himself and Lily. But poverty didn't matter right now. This baby needed help. Without hesitation, Daniel scooped her up and rushed back into his truck. He turned the heat to the highest setting, locked the doors, and wrapped the baby in his jacket. "It's okay," he whispered. "I've got you. You're safe now." As her tiny fingers curled around the fabric, Daniel felt something shift inside him, like fate had just placed a responsibility in his hands he never asked for, yet somehow was meant for. He drove straight to the nearest hospital. Nurses took the baby in immediately and assured him she'd be okay. But when the police arrived, their questions were sharp and straightforward. "How did you find the baby? Did you see anyone else around? Do you live nearby?" Daniel answered everything honestly, but he could feel the weight of their suspicion. His clothes were worn, his hands rough from labor, and he looked like someone who could barely support himself, let alone rescue a baby. But he stayed calm. He had nothing to hide. Hours passed. Doctors confirmed the baby was stable, just cold and dehydrated. The police started talking about foster care procedures and state custody. Daniel listened quietly, but something inside him shouted that this wasn't right. This baby shouldn't go into a system where she'd be just another case file. She deserved warmth. She deserved someone who cared. He wasn't rich. He wasn't special. But he cared. When he returned home near dawn, Lily was awake, rubbing her sleepy eyes. "Daddy, where were you?" "I waited for you to tuck me in." Daniel lifted her gently into his arms. "Sweetheart, something happened tonight. Something important." He told her everything. Her eyes widened in wonder. "A baby? Outside? All alone?" "Daddy, that's so sad." Daniel nodded. "I know, sweet pea. But she's safe now." Lily thought for a moment, then asked a question so innocent it almost made him cry. "Can she stay with us?" Her words struck him like a spark in the dark. Could they? Should they? He wasn't sure. For the next few days, the abandoned baby weighed on his mind. He visited her at the hospital during his breaks, bringing gifted baby clothes from kind nurses and store clerks who heard the story. He held her tiny hand through the incubator window, feeling connected in a way he couldn't explain. The nurses started calling him the Christmas Eve angel. He didn't feel like an angel, he just felt responsible. 2 days later, the social worker assigned to the case asked to meet him. "You visited her every day," she said. "You're the one who found her. You clearly care. Have you considered becoming a temporary guardian?" Daniel's heart thumped hard. "Ma'am," he said quietly, "I can't pretend I have much. I have a small house. I work long hours. I'm a single dad. I don't have savings, but if you're asking whether I care, yes, I do. I care a lot." The social worker studied him carefully, not judging, but truly considering. "Sometimes," she said softly, "the best families aren't the ones with the most money. They're the ones with the most love." Those words stayed with him as she helped him begin the paperwork. It wasn't easy. Background checks, home inspections, endless questions, but through it all, Daniel kept going. He wasn't doing this because he felt heroic. He was doing it because he couldn't bear the thought of that baby going through life without someone who genuinely wanted her. Finally, a week after Christmas, he brought the baby home. Lily rushed toward the door, eyes sparkling. Daddy, Daddy, is she really ours? For now, he said. We're her safe place. Lily tiptoed to the little cradle, peeking inside. Can we name her? Daniel hesitated. They said we can give her a temporary name. Then I want something happy, Lily said. Something like Hope. Daniel's throat tightened. Hope, he repeated. Yeah, that sounds right. Hope settled into their home like she belonged there from the start. Lily helped feed her, rocking her gently the way the nurses showed them. Neighbors who heard the story began dropping off diapers, blankets, formula, and clothes act after act of generosity. That reminded Daniel of something he had forgotten. Kindness spreads. The smallest spark can light an entire neighborhood. Soon, people from the community brought meals, gift cards, and even toys for Lily so she wouldn't feel left out. Someone anonymously paid Daniel's overdue electric bill. Someone else sent Christmas gifts for both girls. Daniel wasn't used to receiving help, but he learned something important. People want to be kind, they're just waiting for a reason. Months passed. Hope grew stronger. She learned to smile, then laugh, then hold on to Daniel's shirt whenever he picked her up. Lily became the world's proudest big sister. And Daniel, he felt something he hadn't felt in years, a full home. A full heart. One day, the social worker returned with news. Daniel, the investigation is complete. The mother won't be returning for her. You have the option to adopt. He froze. The room seemed to shrink around him. Adopt. Could he really do that? Could he provide? Could he become father to a child he found on a cold road? He looked over at Hope, who was crawling toward Lily with a squeal of joy. His answer came from a place deeper than fear, deeper than doubt. Yes, he said softly. Yes, I want to adopt her. And he did. The adoption day was simple. No fancy suits, no grand celebration. Just Daniel, Lily, and little Hope in his arms. When the judge signed the papers, Daniel felt a warmth spread through him, the same warmth he felt the night he picked her up from the snow. The warmth of knowing he made the right choice. Years later, their life still wasn't rich in money. Daniel still worked long hours. Lily grew into a kind young girl, and Hope grew into a bright child full of laughter and love. But their home overflowed with something money could never buy. Family, love, and the kind of kindness that began not with comfort or convenience, but with a choice. A choice to care. In the end, Daniel didn't just save a baby. That baby saved him too, reminding him, his children, and the whole town of Willow Creek that kindness isn't something you give when you have extra. It's something you give because someone needs it. And sometimes that small act of courage becomes the miracle someone else has been praying for. So this Christmas, and every day after, choose kindness. Because you never know whose life you might change, including your own.